Okay, so I was typing in a text message that I'm seeing a breakdown, and I was doing it like around there. Um, and so the question is, how did I see that? So this is our standard chart setup that I look at. So this is ES 2 minutes on the left, ES 1 minute on the right. Then we have VIX 2 minutes on the left, VIX 1 minute on the right. Okay, so um, take a look at the last triangle we got on the 2 minute chart. So we got blue triangle in ES, which is saying downside. So that's, when I see those, I just get one contract, and then when it works, I add more to it. The last triangle on VIX 2 minutes, yellow triangle. So these things are saying, hey, get a contract. That's where we're going. No, it's dangerous here at the 48 EMA because it can go either way. We know that. But we know that right here, ES is below the 48 EMA. So ES is saying, hey, if I get any vote on it, I'm going to vote that VIX is going to break to the upside. So that's the first clue. I mean, it's not a guarantee, but I'm voting because I'm on this side of the 48. There, that gives you reason to push VIX to the other side. Okay, so that's one. The next one is, I told you Apple is in a downtrend. So if you're gonna look, let's quickly open up Apple. Um, and I should add my indicator. But I mean, so if you look at Apple here, and this, I typed this in the text. So look at Apple. So rejected 48 EMA. It's staying outside of the lower band. It's rejecting the red EMA cloud. It's in a clear downtrend. Okay, so this is a 5 minute chart, but you can clearly see it's in a downtrend. Microsoft, I said it's also in a downtrend. Let's look at Microsoft. Um, so when these big mega caps, that's a heavy part of SPY and QQQ, when they're in a downtrend, look at this again, reject the 48, reject VWAP, staying outside of the lower band, red band, staying outside, rejecting the VWAP again. Okay, I said NVIDIA is bearish as well. So these are big names. So you look at this again, we're rejecting VWAP, 48 EMA. So we're staying below it. So going back to this first chart, so we have a yellow triangle on the 2 minute, never a blue triangle. Okay. On ES, blue triangle, never a yellow triangle. Okay. Now let's go to the 1 minute. And I've said this before. If I on ES 1 minute, I get a blue triangle on both 1 and 2. We're playing puts. Okay. Now I get to this point, I get yellow on 1, but I don't take an action because now they're out of sync. And you saw the SpyBot tool. Now we have yellow hollow triangles when they're out of sync, so that you can see that. But so now it's out of sync, and as soon as I get back into sync, that's my re-entry. Remember what I said? I use the 1 minute triangles as re-entry. So when they go out of sync, but they get back in sync again, that's a re-entry for me. So it happens once. That wasn't a great re-entry. Because we're right here at the pre-market low, so it bounced. So that wasn't a great re-entry. I get a yellow triangle, blue triangle back in sync. So this was a much better re-entry. But the point is, I never ever have any opposite. I don't have a yellow triangle on 2 minute. Yes, I don't have a blue triangle on 2 minute VIX. So there's nothing that tells me that we're going to turn. Okay, so I look at all of these things and I'm like, okay, there's absolutely nothing that tells me we're going to change direction. So my bias stays short because we're below the 48 EMA, we're below the VWAP, we're below the red EMA cloud, we're below the danger zone, and we're, so those were all the clues. So every time I get a blue triangle, I'm like, okay, the re-entry. And then before we got here, you can go back and look at the messages. I said, this time we're going to break for real because persistence beat resistance. I mean, so we've been knocking on this door, one time, two times, three times, four times. And I'm like, okay, at some point we're going to knock that door down because we keep beating it. There's nothing that tells me there's a direction change. We're berries in every way. Financials was very bullish this morning, and so obviously that pushed SPY up a little bit. But then I said, okay, financials is not bullish anymore, and you can go look at them right now, and you'll see. Let's pull this guy over. You'll see that they are not doing so hot. So if I take this tool and I look at JPM, the red. I look at XLF, which is the financial sector. It's red. 5 minutes. So you can see like all of the clues stacking up together and saying, okay, we're gonna break down. And so I could see it. You see NQ, you see all these things, and then it's never a guarantee. It's not a guarantee that it's gonna play out that way. But when you take all these clues together, and you're also at a Mazzini pivot level, where like if we break, and you can see how beautiful it is. I mean, we we went to it, we bounced off it, but as soon as we broke this level, obviously we broke it a little bit there as well, but when we broke it here, you can see that big move as we get bearish, and now we're approaching this target level down there. So those are, I mean, so that's how you want to read the indicator and the tools we have. And if you wait patiently until you get that set up, you're gonna find that you're gonna trade, much better. So hopefully that helps. Just stacking all the clues together, and why. Well, first of all, why you shouldn't be playing calls, even though you got a yellow triangle on both VIX 1 minute as well as ES 1 minute. You shouldn't be playing it because there's nothing on 2 minutes. And even then, if you play calls, you're below the 48, which means, it's scalping only. You're not keeping runners. So, I mean, when I look at everything, this will likely become a trend down day because, Microsoft is still trending. Apple is still trending. Nvidia is still trending. Everything in the mega caps right now is below the 48 EMA. So you're not gonna play calls. You're not gonna play the upside. Okay. So again, how do we play the trend down day? You use the 1 minute charts for your entries. So when you get a yellow triangle, you wait for the blue triangle, and the blue triangle will tell you to join the trend. You could also use the VIX 1 minute. So when you get a blue triangle, yellow triangle, as soon as they get in sync, this is your entry. Again, this one wasn't a great one, but then you're like, okay, fine. Then you do it here. And this time it happens to be a great entry. So when you get in that way, so there was our entry according to ES 1 minute. This was our entry according to VIX 1 minute. So when you do that, you try to get 2 contracts. As soon as you get back to the low of day, you sell one to lock in profits, and you keep one runner and set your stop to break even so that you cannot lose money. And then, you keep that runner and you move it up, your stop up, so that you can make a little bit more money. And then, you keep rinse and repeating until it stops working. So every time you get a blue and then yellow triangle on the VIX1, you do the same thing. So that's at some point it's going to stop working. Most likely, and then the trade is over. But you would have made so much money on those runners where you keep moving the stop up that you're gonna make more than what you would make on a normal day. But right now, trend is down unless something happens. That's what you're playing, and if there's a trend change, usually it happens between 2 and 2:30. Play small, but hold your runners. This is the day to hold runners. Any questions?
No, Frick, I also noticed that if you just also looked in Megaspace, you would see it's all red except for the VIX, UVXY, DXY.
That's
Those
true.
are showing green.
Yep.
So when I saw that, it's clear there were so many hurdles for this to clear to go bullish.
Exactly.
It's just another clue.
Exactly. And so I have I have a chart up with all of the mega caps, and so they're all below the clouds. But yeah, you can see it in an instant with Megaspace. You can bring up this SpyBot tool, Spy Watcher, whatever we want to call it. We don't have a name yet, and you can see everything's red. And and then you see VIX is green, and it's below the previous day's close at this point. But it's so it's got a little bit. Let me see. Is it taking a little bit of a breather there? Yeah, not much. But so you can see VIX is up. You can see it's got a 30-minute trend, which is the max that I list on here. So it's at the max super trend. It's got 3 bars on the background color. It's got fire, which means it's holding outside of the bands. It's above. Let me just see. So previous day close. So it's still below the previous day's close. Is that right? And then so Dixie's high. So now we're above the pre-market high on VIX. So TLT. I mean, so carry, obviously, I think that's small banks. But I mean, so you could just look at this and you're like, okay, I shouldn't be playing calls. And then I gave you all of the logic that I used to tell you that this is not a guarantee, but if you look at the probability, this is what I see. I see a breakdown coming. And then before we had this breakdown, I said, okay, this time we're going to break through. And we did. Okay. And I'm not guessing. I'm reading the charts, and I'm telling you what I see. And even then, I could be wrong because the market does what it wants to. But when everyone's playing the trend down on Apple and Microsoft and Nvidia and ES and SPY, then it's going to be tough for you to change the direction of the entire market and play to the upside. So unless you see a yellow triangle on the 2 minutes on ES and a blue triangle on VIX 2 minutes, and even then it's counter trend and not a good idea to play it. So you could scalp it. I would rather wait until I get the opposite triangles again and I align with the trend. Now, if ES and VIX cross the 48s and they're on the opposite side, then you have a clear change in direction. Then at that point, you can think about holding runners, but not before then. But yeah, like you say, Vic, you could also just look at Megaspace, and you can very easily see that everything's red and in a downtrend, and you have super trend on like all of the higher time frames.
Yeah, you have a super trend on Microsoft for 175 minutes on the 30.
Yep.
So that's You know, that's pretty substantial, and everything else. Apple 146 minutes. It's just everything is so selling.
Exactly. So let's quickly open up. Yeah. Quickly open that up, just so we can have everyone see that as well. Because I mean, the sooner you learn to read the indicators, the sooner you're gonna do well. Okay, it's just a little slow to. And you can just press Control Plus on all these things to get bigger fonts. On the Mac, it's Command Plus. You can see. I mean, you could look at this. It's just all big numbers on the trend on the higher time frames. So yeah, I mean, so it was a pretty simple read today, and I just wanted to share that. So this red line at the bottom says that we're below the pre-market low. If you have a green line at the top, we're above the pre-market high. So those are very important levels. Here we're below the pre-market low on Tesla. So those are things that will help you know that they're good to play. When it's a hollow candle like that, it means, sorry, a hollow triangle, it means that on the 2 minutes we have a blue triangle, and that's why it's blue, but on the 1 minute it's the opposite color. Okay, so they're out of sync. And so that on Microsoft you can see as well. So on the 1 minute they have a yellow triangle, on the 2 minute a blue triangle. Any other questions? Okay, so hopefully that helped. I'm gonna sign off here. I gotta